So, let's go ahead and get started. I think we have as many people as we're going to have here today. So I just want to first of all say thanks to all of you for agreeing to serve or for agreeing to allow yourself to be volunteered, as the case may be. But anyway, welcome to the Alumni Engagement Committee. I've been asked to chair this by Scott Brown. He said that he will be showing up from time to time into some of these meetings to participate. But I think to a large extent, this is going to really come down to what we, the group in the committee, can come up with and what kind of ideas. So I first of all just want to say that my philosophy for this committee is going to be one of openness. I'm going to make sure, once again, I'm recording this meeting. I'm going to make sure all these recordings are published on the web. They're going to be accessible to everybody. They're going to be viewable on YouTube. And I'm going to want alumni to be able to watch this from all over Phi Kappa Tau and be able to see what's going on with this committee, because I would love to have some additional input and some great ideas. And that's the best way for people to know about it. So that's kind of where my personal philosophy is on this. So I want to kind of kick off very quickly for the ones of us who are here to each just do a very quick introduction. I'll start with myself and then we'll just kind of go around here. But I'm Tim Holman. I'm the Secretary of the Graduate Council for Alpha Rho Chapter, Georgia Tech. I was initiated in 1977. I am currently a faculty member at Vanderbilt University, and I've been very much involved in alumni affairs for my chapter for decades. And so we've built a very strong and fairly capable graduate council at Alpha Rho Chapter, and I'm hoping that some of the lessons we've done there will maybe give ideas that we can apply at other chapters, because I think there's lots of interesting things we can hopefully do. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So now let's kind of go around, and I guess we'll start with Bill. Bill, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yes, I'm a 64 graduate. It was Texas Western at that time, I believe. And yes, it was. And it's UTEP now. And I got my bachelor's and master's degree, and I've often told other people that I don't know how I would have done it without the fraternity kind of pushing us along. I'm a retired school district administrator. I've probably served at every place along the way, from teacher on up through actually the state level. So, I really value the education that kids are receiving nowadays. And it's just, I'd like to see a fraternity really take a lead. Well, I'm sure they do already. I've been away from it for so long, but I just want to kind of emphasize to young people that, golly, that education is so important to them.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, Bill. Okay. Ron, can you tell us a little bit, tell everybody a little bit about yourself? I'm sorry.
Yes. My name is Ron Kemp. I'm a graduate of New Mexico State University, Beta Zeta of New Mexico State. I graduated in 82. I was initiated in 77. I now live in Dallas, Texas. I'm a nurse manager. I'm a nurse. I became a nurse manager, and right now I travel around the country, contracted to different hospitals. I'm in Oklahoma City right now. And I'm like Bill. I mean, if it hadn't been for the fraternity, I don't know that I would have made it. I may have made it with better grades, but I don't know that I would have gotten it out. And I'm the same way. I mean, I'm on the housing corporation at UNT, and I see what kids are going through these days, and it's so disheartening. It's so saddening. So I would like to impart the fraternal experience on these guys.
Okay.
That's me.
Okay. Okay. Scott, what do you have to say?
Well, I'm a little different than you guys. I was not in a fraternity as an undergrad. I'm an alumni initiate at Cornell chapter. I went to St. Lawrence University and graduated in 77, and just did not get into any fraternities, and finally gave up. I spent my career in two things: newspaper journalism and teaching on the college level, teaching journalism at Cornell and SUNY Cortland. And while I was at Cornell, our chapter was starting up after being gone for 5 years. And they asked me to be faculty advisor. And that was in 2000. And I'm still with them. I'm chapter advisor now. So I just had my 23rd graduation 2 days ago. Um, so what I've gained is a lot of things, and I would like to impart that on them. I think, obviously, I've seen a lot of change after the pandemic, especially. They came out of high school raring to go with the parties and not much else. They didn't want to hear about anything else. So we've been steadily getting away from that. And our new exec board will be a lot better. But our physical house is a mess. It's 120 years old. It's probably the oldest chapter house in Phi National. And it just needs a lot of work. And we're using a lot of different ways, but the undergrads have asked about money. They've asked about cold calling alumni for money. So thankfully, I've gotten them away from that idea. That'd be a disaster. And so we're ramping up. We have our 100th anniversary coming up in 2030, so we'll probably have a capital campaign. But meanwhile, we're trying to get we have some pretty good alumni engagement. We have some events in Ithaca and in New York City where we have a lot of alumni. And we also have good newsletters. I'm active with those. I'm chapter advisor. I help with the alumni relations, and I'm the scholarship chair. And so, yeah, it's been 24 years, and the alumni situation is really challenging, and I wouldn't mind figuring out what to do with it. And I think it varies. We don't have too many alumni that live around us. I'm one of like five, but some chapters have got alumni living near them, and I always wondered if that made it easier for them to be engaged. Like, a Louisville or a Ohio State or something like that, if they have alumni in their area physically. So that is me. I've been to conventions. I've been a facilitator for a regional conference. I've been a domain director. I had 4 chapters. So this guy who was an alumni initiate, and I actually have 5 guys in my lineage now, 4 other alumni initiates, which I never expected. I figured I'd be by myself. So that's
Well,
me.
you're doing a lot better than a lot of guys who went through the active as an active in the undergraduate council. So, or
I know.
in the resident council. So that's
I
good.
mean, the guys who initiated me are 45 or 46 now.
Okay.
And I have witnessed somewhere around 320 or so people go through.
Mhm.
So we've talked about forming a development committee, and some of the alumni have said I should do it since I know everybody. I basically know everybody since 2002 graduate.
That's a good point. Excellent point. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so, Christopher, what can you tell us about yourself?
All right. I graduated from Lynchburg College, which is now the University of Lynchburg, the Zeta Epsilon chapter. We colonized in 2012, I believe, and then became an official chapter about 2014. So it's been 10 years since our chapter existed. I've been the chapter advisor for about 8 of that because I immediately graduated after we chartered. Now I'm on the board as member at large. I've been trying twice now to get the graduate council off the ground, but once they graduate, they feel like and they believe that fraternal life is not forever. Even though it's it's in the oath, it's in our language. So getting them to believe that it's forever, it's been a challenge.
We have to give them no reason to believe that it is forever,
Right.
right? Absolutely. I'm totally with you on that, and hopefully that's some of the things that we'd be able to do. So anyway, thanks everybody for those of you who were able to be here and give the little start up here, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from other people here with future meetings. So just a few items to get out of the way first is. I think we're going to be doing quite a bit of this by email. A lot of the stuff we're going to be discussing between ourselves, but obviously we're going to want to take advantage of Zoom and have occasional meetings. So I'm thinking either once or twice a month, certainly during the summer, would be a good idea. So I just wanted to know how did everybody feel about maybe doing twice a month meetings over the summer? Does that sound good, or would once a month be sufficient? How does that feel in terms of your personal schedules? So
You know, I'm
anybody
sort
want
of,
to speak up? Yeah.
I'm sort of buried, but I'm on the ritual committee also, and that's twice a month.
Okay.
Which it depends on what you're doing, Tim. We're in the middle of going through the rituals you know, I'm not going to say what we're doing, but we're definitely studying them and seeing if they need to be altered and updated and changed. And that's a whole different deal. So what you got is maybe something more, and I don't know what you're, if you have sort of a multi-pronged thing you're doing or what. I guess it would depend on what you want to accomplish.
Well, I will say for now, I'll probably want to target the next meeting in about 2 weeks. And maybe after I've had time to send out some more material to everybody, and we've had more time to discuss among ourselves what we want to accomplish, then maybe we can kind of call it from there and decide if every other week or once a month is going to work. So, so let's go ahead and just do with that. Unless somebody objects, we'll try to schedule a meeting in about 2 weeks and hopefully bring in some more people too. So I just want to, first of all, show you a couple of things here. And the first is this. And hold on, I'm going to share my screen and show this. Let's see. Okay. Everybody see this? This is going to be our charter. I'm going to be filling in this charter with some of the information I have right now, including the committee members. I am going to take first shot at what the committee goals and deliverables and timeline is going to be. And then I'm going to pass this around to everybody. So the idea being in about 2 weeks when we meet again, we'll be able to have kind of put our blessing on this piece of documentation, which I need to send to the National Council. So this is really just something that outlines what we think we're going to do and the time we're going to do it in and what we expect to accomplish. So just want to warn you guys, this is coming. All right, I'm going to, again, I'll take the first shot at it, but we're going to want to all chew on this, and I'll try to get some feedback from everybody on this. So that's the first part I wanted to show you, that we're going to do this. All right. Okay. The second thing I wanted to talk about was, I guess, my own personal vision for what this committee is going to do. And I hope all of you had a chance to read the committee report from the previous iteration of this committee from a decade ago. So in 2014, the previous Alumni Engagement Committee created a nice, beautiful document. You know, a strategic plan, as you would say, for where we needed to be from 2014 to 2017. I will say this right off the bat: I don't know if anything in that document was ever implemented. I mean, if it was, I would love for somebody to enlighten me, but I just didn't really see where these things had happened. And I think it's probably, you know, it's probably worth mentioning that I have been involved in the development of several strategic plans in my professional career, and what they are normally involved is a great deal of work, and then they're tossed on a pile and they're never looked at again. And they don't seem to accomplish much except burn up people's time. And I will tell you right off the bat that this is, and of course, this is no insult to the people who did what they did 10 years ago, but simply to say that if we wind up in effect recreating something similar to what was done 10 years ago, I will have personally considered the mission of this committee to be a complete failure. Because the last thing we need is another strategic plan full of lofty goals that never get realized for lack of time, effort, resources, whatever. I have personal ideas in terms of what needs to be done. All right, personal experience. I think that a lot of chapters could take some easy, hopefully straightforward steps to reconnect with their alumni. And I think reconnecting alumni with their chapters is one of the smartest things we can do in terms of bringing alumni, lost alumni, back into the fold. And I think that national headquarters and the foundation can provide some of the resources and the infrastructure to do that. And I've in fact been talking to people about doing exactly that. So one of the things I want to try to do in terms of getting alumni engagement with the fraternity is to, again, re-engage them with the people they already know, the chapter they know, the school they know. So I want to try to bring forth some ideas on that and get ideas suggestions, input from other people on what we can do. But I want to say this. I am far more a believer in having small steps. If we come up with 3 or 4 small steps that actually get accomplished and get done over the next year versus a huge document of lofty goals where not a damn thing gets done, then I've considered those 3 or 4 small steps a much, much better approach for us. I am a believer in trying things, and if they don't work, quit doing them and try something different. So again, this comes down to let's figure out some ways to try something simple that's not hard to do, where we can kind of put something on a plate and give it to people and say, try this, see what you think. Take a bite out of this and see what you think, and see how people respond to that. So that's going to be kind of the way I want to approach this. I do not want to do another strategic plan full of lots of lofty, empty generalizations where the manpower and the resources never get devoted. I want to try to come up with simple things that every chapter can do, and we can show them this is how to do it. Try this, and oh, here's some of the resources. Here's what you need. Use this. Try this, and see how that helps some of the chapters reach out to their alumni and get some of those alumni back. Because there's no doubt in my mind, we have a great many alumni out there who are disconnected from their chapters, but in the day, they were true believers in Phi Kappa Tau. I mean, their very best friends were in the fraternity. Probably their very best friends still are members of the fraternity. Many of them are. And we just have to kind of remind them of that and reconnect them with the chapter that they were once part of. So that's one of the things I want to try to do. Now, of course, at the same time, I've been, contacted by President McCrum, Mike McCrum. He said, well, let's not forget about the alumni who they don't have active chapters anymore. Okay, how can we reconnect them with at least with national? And again, this comes down to what are small steps we can take. What are small things we can do that require maybe a little bit of money, but not a huge amount of time or commitment from lots of people? Because if we do that, guys, we all know it's not going to get done. It won't happen. So I just want to try to, again, identify little ideas where we can kind of bring people, even if they don't have an active chapter, back into the fold again, have them participate again, give them some reason to participate or go to the Phi Kappa Tau website or do something. And so, again, I've got ideas on that, and I'm going to kind of start tossing those out over the next month or so and get input from all of you guys as well. So my personal ambition, my goal here is I want to try to create by the end of the summer a list of half a dozen simple things. Here are some recommendations. They were going to require these kinds of resources. They're not going to require huge amounts of manpower, but they will require some infrastructure. These are the things that we think can help re-engage alumni with our chapters. And then give those recommendations to the National Council with the idea that I'd like to see implementation of this stuff begin next fall, as fall semester begins. And then we'll see how it works. And we'll kind of examine this at the end of the year and say what worked, what didn't work, what needed more effort, what simply we need to abandon and walk away from. So I'm totally disinterested in this idea that we're going to build this pretty document and write it up and turn it in, and we're all say, oh, we're done. No, I want us to spend a little bit of time coming up with some simple ideas, trying them out, seeing how they work. And if they don't work, they don't work. But if they do work, let's do more of them, or let's change them, or let's try something else along that line and see how that works. So that is very much going to be my philosophy as chair of this committee. Now, I'm hoping that I can bring all of you along with my vision here. But again, I just have zero interest in creating just a long-winded document that quite literally Chat GPT could write nowadays. And just saying that's it, we're done. I prefer to say that our deliverables are going to be simple. We're not going to try to solve the world. We're not going to try to create world peace. And we are going to do a few simple things that we think are going to help re-engage our alumni with their chapters and with the national fraternity. And it's a small, simple list, and this is what we need to do. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. So anyway, if anybody has anything they want to kind of add to my personal vision here, I would love to hear from it. But that's kind of where I'm coming from right now.
Do you think, Tim, that undergrads need to start by understanding who their alumni are as well as they can, because it's hard for them because they're 19, 20, they're not out in the world. So who their alumni are, what would bring them back, what would engage them, but also what they've been doing, and try to understand, like in my case, complexity, subcultures within our alumni, guys who disappear for 40 years and all of a sudden resurface. So if you could, I think the undergrads might have to spend some time trying to understand who their audience is, what alumni are. Do you think
Oh,
that's something they could do?
oh, I think that's absolutely essential that we need to do, and then
Yeah.
that's part of the whole re-engagement. I mean, there are a lot of not just Phi Tau chapters, a lot of fraternity chapters on every college campus where literally the alumni graduate, the brothers graduate, they walk out the door, and as far as they're concerned, their fraternity experience is over. It was something they did in college. They are gone. You will never hear from them again. They'll never come back. They see no need to come back. And the problem is the guys in that chapter, they grow up in that culture. They grow up in a culture where, oh, you graduate and you leave. So why would they see it done any differently? I mean, it's incredibly important to fix that problem. And again, I would like to fix that in a simple way. And one of the ways that we fix that, in my personal opinion, is by encouraging alumni, creating a vehicle and a mechanism for them to donate money for two purposes. Purpose number one is for alumni communications and alumni social events, whether it's actually on the college campus or some other city, but do some kind of social events, communications, get the alumni communicating again, and money makes that happen. All right. So create some mechanisms where people can give that money. Part of that money also goes to the chapter. So in other words, let's find out ways where the undergraduates, the resident council members now see that, oh, the alumni don't just disappear. Our alumni donated money for this to happen for our chapter. Oh, and once they see that, hey, this is something where I don't just walk away, I still stay engaged with my fraternity. Hopefully we'll start to change that culture. And that's what I would like, some of the things I like to do. It's absolutely essential. I mean, we at least at Alpha Rho chapter, our alumni are very visible presence around the brotherhood, around the actives. Okay, we don't micromanage them, but we have lots of events. The actives are there, the alumni are there. The actives know that the alumni collect money. We give that money to them. We provide a lot of money to them, and we organize a lot of the things. And they understand that one day when I graduate, I'll be one of these guys. It'll be my job to help out and to donate money the same way all these guys have been donating and helping out our chapter while I've been here. And that culture is absolutely essential to re-engaging people in the fraternity. But yeah,
You
we got to
mentioned
fix it both ways. Yeah.
you mentioned communications, and that's one of my areas. And I love doing our newsletters. And the thing is, you have to figure out who is what's in the newsletter. Is it alumni content or undergrad or both, like us? But then we discover that the readership is low. Like we track the numbers for who opens the email link. Not great. But we're shifting to social media because our younger alumni, that's what they want. Like right now, we have a Facebook page, but I communicate with our younger ones on Instagram. So that's a challenge for us too. What do alumni, do they read communications? What do they want to know? And what do the undergrads put in it? So that's a huge topic, obviously.
Well, I can say that that's an ongoing battle. I mean, we are fortunate. We've all normally had pretty good response from our alumni, from our undergraduates in terms of doing newsletters. I mean, they usually get at least a newsletter a semester. But I think one of the big things that we've certainly done is, at least among our alumni, is we've built a very good alumni listserv. We do things by email, and I'm a big believer in email. It's old fashioned, but it works. It survives the test of time. You say Facebook, yeah, great, except that young people don't use Facebook anymore. Well, okay, Instagram. Yeah, in 5 years, nobody will be using Instagram. Social media is a constant moving target. So I'm a personal believer in saying, hey, we're all professionals. Once we're alumni, we're all going to be using email. Okay. And so, email is a way for people to stay connected. I mean, everybody has a Gmail address and it works and it never breaks. So, I mean, again, this doesn't mean like it's a one size fits all, but yeah, I mean, there's more than one way to engage alumni, and obviously getting input from people on how to do that. And again, resources that the national headquarters or the foundation can provide to alumni groups to help them do this, and to chapters to help them do this, wouldn't be a bad thing. So it comes down to what kind of advice, what suggestions can we give along those lines. So I mean, I totally agree with you on that. So anybody else, any other thoughts or questions or comments? Because right now it's kind of like me and Scott doing all the talking, but if you others have got any comments, please speak up.
You know,
What's that, Bill?
Yes, and my chapter went belly up in sometime in the 80s. It was Alpha Psi.
Yep.
They're at UTEP, and it's so sad to me. And I've been very busy, but I've had a chance to kind of look back on it, and I'm just wondering if maybe we'd have gotten to know the alums a lot better. While we were talking, I was writing down the names of 3 of them that were very, very impressive to me. One of them we did get to know very well, and it helped. But there were 2 of them that none of us really knew until we were grown and gone a long time. And then we say, golly, why didn't we know that? One of them was one of my school board presidents, and I didn't even know that until after I was out of that school district, and I looked back on the that database that we bought a few years back, and there he was. He was my school, but we didn't know about it. We didn't say a word about the fraternity that whole time that he was there.
Well,
and then
I mean, let me ask a question. How many alumni does your chapter have? Even though your chapter's not active, how many alumni are out there for your chapter?
Gosh, I don't know. I kind
A
of
few hundred, 200 or 300.
maybe so. Yeah. About
Okay, all right.
in
Okay.
2014, I was kind of lassoed into trying to get a group together, and we gathered about 40, maybe.
Okay.
And 40, and we met up in the mountains and had about a 3-day kind of a reunion, and it was very nice. But that I could imagine that's probably only a tenth of maybe
Then it seems to me like you've got a lot of potential manpower to work with. Then I mean, the thing of it is there anything that prohibits your chapter from coming back to the campus?
I just think it's the cultural atmosphere out there. I don't think is set up for a fraternity. I'm not seeing problems, but it might be able to come back. I'd love to see it. I'm in Lubbock now, which is 5 hours away by car.
Bill, I had a question. I'm not ultra familiar with Texas geography, even though my last name is Conroe, and yes, there's a Conroe, Texas, in north of Houston. But there are a couple other chapters in Texas, and one of them, North Texas, I think. I don't think it has any alumni. Would your alumni ever be interested in helping another chapter?
Well, I think so. So a lot of us are getting old. I'm pushing 80, about 6 weeks. I'll be 80. So we've got guys plus or minus 80, and I just don't know how they'd be able to travel.
Yeah.
I'll almost tell you I'd do anything, even to jump off the roof if I've got enough time to wiggle out of it. But the thing is, I'd be happy to help in any way I could. They need to know that there are successful people out there. I mean, I call myself a success, at least as an educator, that they should be able to look up to and ask questions from, and say, what did the fraternity mean to you? So I really had a good time trying to gather everyone, and it was a good meeting.
Well, Bill, I'm curious. Does UTEP have like a big alumni weekend or homecoming tradition?
Yes, they do.
So lots of alumni come back to campus.
Yes, they do.
Okay, then I would argue you've got an opportunity to build an alumni interest group again and to create a graduate council. And I would like to see this committee make some recommendations to make things like that happen. And that's the first step in possibly bringing your chapter back to your campus. So, and if nothing, and even if that doesn't work, at least it's a way of getting the alumni re-involved again with each other, and also maybe getting them reconnected to the national fraternity or to some other chapters besides just their own chapter. So I would kind of throw that out, that that's kind of one of the things we want to do, is come up with some doable things, not totally ambitious, ridiculously huge things that won't happen, but small doable steps that we can recommend that can make things like that happen for your chapter and for your alumni.
You know,
So I would argue that's our job.
during COVID, we had alumni events online. We had no choice, and they were pretty good. I mean, and what we did was we
We
made
did too.
different rooms in the meeting where you would go in this room if that's the alumni from your time, and then undergraduates would join you. And actually, we did it 2 or 3 times. It was pretty fun. We haven't done it since, and I thought it was pretty good.
We had Alpha Rho happy hours. We had alumni presentations online with YouTube. We did all kinds of stuff like that ourselves. Worked out very well. So yeah, again, things like that on a different scale, maybe ideas that we can use. So again, I've got some ideas. I'm going to throw them out to everybody. I'm going to write some of these up and let's give us some discussion points. And I hope to get some, information or some suggestions from the rest of you. But that's kind of where I hope to go with this. So,
Hey, Bill,
oh yes, please.
Bill,
All right,
Bill,
go ahead,
this
Ron.
is Ron Kemp from New Mexico State. I believe that there is a group of guys that is reorganizing at UTEP. I know Mike McCrum went there during y'all's homecoming, and I believe they had not rechartering yet, but they're trying to colonize there, and so there is a group of guys I believe that is working on that. So you might check into. I'm not sure who did it. I talked to the guy, but I can't even remember his name now. But there are some guys that are doing that. Okay.
That's good to know. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. And actually, one of our fraternity brothers was one of the outstanding graduates there. He lives in California now, but he was a well-honored person there at the last homecoming. So I can touch base with him and see if he saw anything like that.
Okay. Well, I don't want to drag this on too long here, but I just want to see. Chris, do you have any comments before we kind of shut down for this evening?
Not yet. I'm still cooking on some thoughts about
Okay.
like younger chapters around here. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we want perspectives, all age groups, and to try to get as many ideas as possible. I mean, I will say this, that fixing or improving the alumni engagement situation to a certain extent, and I don't think this is a shock to any of the rest of you, is going to require also some treatment at the chapter level, the active council level as well, the resident council. So I think it goes both ways, because I think a lot of, alumni shouldn't be disengaged from the moment they graduate, but for many chapters they are. And let's try to fix that, if nothing else, and that may help a lot. So perhaps we can try to fix the existing issue, but let's try to also prevent the future problem by changing the attitudes and the outlooks of the guys who are currently in college right now. So again, some of the ideas I'm thinking of, and again, I'm tossing ideas back and forth. Like I said, I've got my own vision, but I really want to emphasize once again that I'm going to be really focused on simple, concrete, observable, measurable steps. And that's going to be our success. I have zero interest in generating long-winded reports that just don't accomplish anything. I'd much rather have some very short, simple steps. Let's do this. Let's try this. This is what we expect to happen. Let's find out if it happens. And then from there, see where we can go. So I would hope this committee will have more of an ongoing mission over the next year or so, perhaps going into the next national convention, where we can kind of come up with some ideas and see how they work over the next academic year and see what kind of effect that has. So, like I said, these are topics for future meetings, discussion in future meetings. Okay. So anyway, I did not mean to keep everybody going this long. I wanted to try to end this after about half an hour. So my apologies for this dragging on a bit, but I hope that everybody here sees kind of where I hope this committee is going to go. And I, I, I have, I'm cautiously optimistic that we can actually make some steps, some concrete steps towards making things better for our alumni and for our chapters as a whole, based on all of our shared experiences and ideas we can have. So that's where we are. I'm going to be once again sending out some documentation for filling out the form, the charter for our committee, and then also just sending out some initial thoughts and ideas myself in terms of things we could do and start generating some feedback and some discussion among ourselves. So anyway, that'll come for the future. So I'll probably try to send out a calendar event probably for week after next, maybe Monday through Thursday night. And we'll try to pick the best time and try to get as many people to attend as we can. But as always, I'm going to record these and put these up on YouTube. This will go up on YouTube as well. And then we'll, hopefully that'll bring in some more interest and some more comments from other people. So anyway, that is it for me. I've probably talked too long as it is, but any closing remarks from anybody before we go? All right, then in that case, gentlemen, watch your email and I will be chatting with you hopefully all in about 2 weeks from now. Okay. Take care and have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.